Welcome to Practical Spirituality with Rabbi Glaser at Old City Radio in Jerusalem.
You have to feel I need to start my day with investing in this relationship with Hashem, speaking to Hashem from my heart.
And a spiritual journey and spirituality begin when we're able to go ahead and step outside of ourselves in order to make a free choice.
There's an overwhelming feeling of holiness in the Old City that you can't compare to anywhere else.
Shalom, I'm Rabbi Glaser. I'm here in Jerusalem, in the Old City, and I'm here with the Old City Radio, and I'm very excited to be here. And please support Faces International, that's doing work all over the land of Israel to help us through this difficult time. We're coming into Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the celebration of 8 crazy nights, 8 nights of Hanukkah, where we will light the candle that represents the original miracle of the burning of 1 jar of oil, which was enough for 1 day, that burned for 8. But the 8 days of Hanukkah has a connection to the number 8. So let's talk a little bit about 8 today. So the first thing to know about 8, maybe the most important thing to know about 8, is that it represents the infinite. In fact, the 8, when turned on its side, is the sign for infinity. And the 8, the number 8, why is it infinity? Because the number 7 represents nature. 7s are the world of nature. So what that means is that the cycles of nature work in 7s. So, for example, the moon works in numbers of 7. Our months are in 7s. The 7s are the notes of the musical scale: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And 7 is the colors of the rainbow, and 7 is the reproductive system inside of women. And basically, 7s represent the natural world. And obviously the days of the week, and God created the world with 7 days, and that's the 7th. When you go beyond nature, supernatural, quite literally, supernature or supernatural means beyond nature, and that is the 8th day. Hanukkah celebrates 2 major miracles. One miracle is the 1 day's worth of oil burned for 8 days, and the other is that the war was fought by the priests of the temple against the Assyrian Greeks. They were up against not just the Greeks, but they were basically up against all the Jews who had been, how would you say, became apostate Jews. And they left their Jewish tradition in order to be part of the Greek culture. So they didn't stand a chance. And that was the other miracle, is that a bunch of rabbis from the temple managed to create a rebellion, fight a war, and win. It's an interesting thing that they did that, because first of all, you would think they'd be more peaceful, being the rabbis of Jerusalem, the Kohanim, the priesthood. But it also tells you that when it's time to fight, you fight. And it also tells you something interesting, is that the Jews were not being attacked physically. It was a spiritual thing. Their lives were not at risk. The Greeks would have been perfectly happy as long as the Jews would just be consumed by the Greek culture and just let go of their own Judaism. Greeks would have been perfectly happy to just go with that. But meaning no one's life was at risk. And yet the priest fought a battle, like a physical war battle against them. And so that's just something interesting, because if someone's coming after our bodies, meaning to kill us, so we usually answer with that spiritually. And when someone's coming after our soul, after the spiritual, we go against that physically. We fight physically. What that tells you ultimately is that the soul is what it's all about. And so, meaning if they're coming after our bodies, so we unite, we reconnect. Like, for example, what happened October 7th is the Jews have united. There's a tremendous amount of prayer that's being said. Now, we're also fighting physically, just because it's an existential threat that that we're fighting right now. Although, who knows? There's no way for us to know, because our large population of Israel is not interested in Judaism. So we wouldn't be able to know if we wanted to know how it would be if we didn't fight this thing, but we actually just united in prayer and mitzvahs, doing the commandments, keeping our charge from God at Mount Sinai, and we wouldn't know anyway. So basically, we're fighting and praying. And it's interesting, it's not really a spiritual battle so much. I mean, these guys, they're supposed to be Muslims, which means they're people who actually pray every day, believe in God. And so it seems to be more of a physical attack, which means the answer should be spiritual. But again, as I said, we don't exactly have the numbers of those who would react spiritually. Certainly the Torah community is reacting spiritually. I hope you're enjoying the video. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss any others. Now, so back to the eights. So 8 days is the Hanukkah celebration, and 8 being the miraculous. So what was it that the Greeks were so into? And the answer is that the Greeks were into physicality. They venerated form, and that would be the form of architecture, or the form of the human body, even the form of ideas and philosophy. Even if those ideas were clearly wrong, they nevertheless, if it was of good form, it might be worth knowing, you know. And so it was a worship of the natural. It was a worship of the physical. It was basically deifying the physical world, turning it into its own god. And the Jewish people were like, we're not that, you know. We're into the physical world. We believe in delicious foods and music and you know, privatization of wealth. Like, you can actually make a nice living and build a beautiful home with beautiful architecture, put a pool, jacuzzi, and sauna, and a cold plunge. You know, you can make all those things, drive a nice car. Judaism's not ascetic like maybe someone might do in India. Jews are actually quite into the physical world. In fact, it's by no coincidence that the covenant of the circumcision on the 8th day is on that part of a male's body, which represents, you know, the most physical of all you know, desires. And so once again, though, there's the 8, and cutting a little of the natural body in the honor of spirituality specifically at the epicenter of physical desire. The 8 represents the miraculous, and it's about going beyond the natural. And when we celebrate these eight nights of Hanukkah, we're celebrating it by lighting candles. And what is light? Light is the source of all reality. Whether you're a Kabbalist and you know that the world's created with the Ein Sof, the light of the infinite, or if you're a physicist and you believe that the whole world's created out of light energy, we all have light in common. Light is what's causing everything to be. And the light of Hanukkah, when you stare into those lights, you look through them. You don't just look at them. They're not just physical lights, they're windows. You know, like, for example, if you looked up at a full moon at the top of the sky, you could look up at that moon and see it as a moon. Or you could see it as like a round window that leads to a world of light that you could just shoot through. And so too with the Hanukkah lights, you shoot right through the lights. You shoot into the infinite, you know, beyond the natural, supernatural. You shoot into the infinite. You connect with Hashem, the creator of heaven and earth, the creator of the physical world. We shoot through the lights to the light of Hashem, which is beyond the natural world. In our daily lives, we're to align ourselves with that. That is our connection. Our connection is with the infinite. You don't tell us the odds. We don't care about the odds. We know that a committed life with Hashem and Torah, the mitzvahs, that's really, if you want to worry about something, worry about your spiritual life, because the physical world will be taken care of. Kadosh Baruch Hu will run the show as you move into it. Many love Hanukkah because it's like the most spiritual of all the holidays. Here in the darkest of times, right in the middle of the winter solstice, we light that light. And, being engaged in physicality in the material world, there's a lot to love there, to recognize spirituality in the material. And mostly because the physical world is it's made of multiplicity, and there's a lot of things in it, from beautiful forests to alpine meadows to polyphonic music and beauty beyond belief in all aspects, whether they're naturally there or whether they were created by the genius of the human creativity. It's so vast and sadly consuming to the Greeks, but not consuming us. We are able to sense it. When I drink for example, a craft beer, some of my more custom-made IPAs, the taste has God inside of it. So as distinct my palate, as good as my palate is to distinguish the different flavors of the hops inside the beer, or the barley inside the beer, is how much I'm celebrating Hashem inside of it. And the same is true in the sports we do, in everything we do, and just enjoying a good car, or enjoying the sound system while enjoying the car. And it's Hashem's in all of that, and it's easy, it's free. It's no skin off your back. It's easy. It's meaning you can be a materialist and forget about God, and then it is what it is. You can enjoy the drive. But how much more awesome is it to know that Hashem is the infinite light inside of all of this? And all of this is just an illusion, meaning a projection coming from that infinite light as it's broken down into our physical world. It's grab that. And the way you grab it is on Hanukkah, and you stare at those lights, and you let those lights represent the lights of the whole world. And every time you see candle lights for the rest of the year, Shabbos lights go through them. A Yortzeit candle, go through it. Every time you see candles, that's a chance to go in, to go deep, go through, but go through everything, not just through the lights. Go through the music, go through the tastes, go through the sights, go through the relationships, go through the love. Don't leave love just in your relationships. Go all the way through it. Thank you for joining me for this session. And if you like this session, you will love to be in person, three-dimensionally, at the Possible You seminar, where we really transform our lives. You can find information about when we will be running a seminar near you at rabbiyomtov.com. Blessings, and have an inspiring, amazing life.